world is actually a small piece of the universe, right? Unbelievable. The demonstrators who infiltrated the Capitol have defied the seat of dust. It's defiled, right? See, I can't see it. And then they have cans of soup. Soup. And they throw the cans of soup. That's better than a brick because you can't throw a brick, it's too heavy. But a can of soup, you can really put some power into that, right? And then when they get caught, they say, no, this is soup from my family. They're so innocent. This is soup from my family. It's incredible. And you have people coming over with bags of soup, big bags of soup, and they lay it on the ground, and the anarchists take it and they start throwing it at our cops, at our police. And if it hits you, that's worse than a brick because it's got force. It's the perfect size. It's like made perfect. And when they get caught, they say, no, this is just soup from my family. And then the media says, this is just soup. These people are very, very innocent. They're innocent people. I went in yesterday and there was a television screen and I said, this is genius.
Through the polls, Jack. You guys are all the same.
$7 million for reef fish management. $25 million to combat Asian carp. $2.5 million to count the number of amberjack fish in the Gulf of Mexico. Everybody comes in your grandmother. Everybody comes in your grandmother. Everybody comes in your grandmother.
Through the polls, Jack. The polls, Jack. Polls, Jack. Polls, Jack. You guys are all the same.
I am not up to the job. And I mean that sincerely. It's not like, whoa.
So, Brandon, I agree.
All of a sudden, we can't talk about Neanderthal DNA anymore. All of a sudden, we can't talk about Neanderthal DNA anymore. All of a sudden, we can't. All of a sudden, we can't talk about. All of a sudden, we can't talk about. All of a sudden, we can't. All of a sudden, we can't talk about Neanderthal DNA anymore. All of a sudden, we can't. All of a sudden, we can't talk about. All of a sudden, we can't talk about. All of a sudden, we can't. All of a sudden, we can't talk about. All of a sudden, we can't talk about. All of a sudden, we can't. All of a sudden, we can't talk about. All of a sudden, we can't talk about. All of a sudden, we can't. All of a sudden, we can't talk about. All of a sudden, we can't talk about. All of a sudden, we can't. All of a sudden, we can't talk about. All of a sudden, we can't talk about. All of a sudden, we can't. All of a sudden, we can't talk about. All of a sudden we can't talk about Neanderthal. All of a sudden we can't. All of a sudden we can't talk about. All of a sudden we can't talk about Neanderthal. All of a sudden we can't talk about Neanderthal DNA. All of a sudden we can't talk about Neanderthal DNA anymore.
I am not up to the job. And
everybody
I mean that
comes
sincerely.
In your grandmother,
like,
your father, your mother, your brother, your cousins. They come in so easily, so crazy. So crazy. Everybody comes in your grandmother.
It is time for us to do what we have been doing, and that time is every day. Every day it is time for us to agree.
Get your words straight, Jack.
All of a sudden, we can't talk about Neanderthal DNA anymore.
An opinion of somebody, and that was a retweet. I'll put it out there. People can decide for themselves. I don't take a position.
You're not like.
Hello, users, and welcome to another. This is it's a broadcast. When you really. It's a broadcast. I am the broad. I am casting the broadcast. That's what I'm doing here to broadcast the show. And that's so now we're doing the show. So we got a show going on today. Today is I have Top Chat enabled. I gotta fix that. Today is the Above It All show, 1653. And y'all are talking about nachos in the chat. I love nachos, so I'm gonna go have nachos right now. So thank you all for watching. I'm gonna go eat some nachos. Alright, I'm just kidding. No nachos here. This is no nacho stream. If you're getting nachos, you're getting out, because this is a no nacho zone. It appears that 77% of my viewer base have a low IQ, and that pains me, to be honest.
Only the really, I hate to say this, but those with the lowest IQ.
It's just not okay. So I'm gonna request that 77% of my viewer base, first of all, get a life. Second of all, once you have that life, go watch Better Call Saul. Third of all, I will let you watch the rest of my shows. I'm not even American. Who cares if you're American? Oh, I'm from Britland. I can't watch good television. Like, what the fuck? We put up with your shit all the time. You ever see these fucking British shows? You ever see this shit? Yeah, we put up with that shit all the fucking time, you know? Least you can do is watch one of our bangers. You know what I'm saying? Anyway. We got a show today. We got a show today. Hopefully, I'm not going to launch into an hour-long rant about religious people. Today, if you want that, watch yesterday's show. Anyway, I don't watch TV. Yeah, me neither. But this is one of those shows that you have to watch. It's like the Mona Lisa of our generation. You know, it's the Mona Lisa of television. That's all I can say. I don't, It's, it's the Starry Night of television. You know what I mean? It's the fucking skeleton smoking a cigarette of television, like the great. It's just, it's a 10 out of 10. You gotta watch it, otherwise you're an uncultured swine with a low IQ. Anyway, with that being said, let's launch right in. We're launching right in, y'all. We are launching. We are ready to launch, and the direction that we're able to launch in is right in. So we're gonna launch in. The religious rant was cool. I was able to listen and get stuff done while you reamed Christianity and Islam. Well, throw Judaism in there. I'm not letting Israel off. Those motherfuckers. God damn it. And another thing about Israel. Okay. No. Okay. Anyway. Let's get a show going. Anyway. Extreme heat belt. Y'all, and we're not talking about the belts that are designed to keep your fucking trousers up after another fucking six-pack goes down your gullet. We're talking about a belt throughout the United States of America. An extreme heat belt will impact over 100 million Americans in the next 30 years, study finds. So they're saying in the next 30 years, I'm arguing that we're already here. This is the thing where it's like people love to, because climate change happens so slowly, people love to go like, oh, the real effects are coming later. Oh, now again, is it going to get worse? Yes, absolutely. It's going to get worse. That's no question. But I think the framing this in the next 30 years thing is a little, to me, we are already dealing with the consequences. It's going to get worse, but it's already really bad. We're already having 40, 50 people die every year from excess heat alone. That's the stat that I've seen. Now, again, there's other things like, people dying from floods related to climate change, people dying from wildfires and stuff. But I've seen a number that said around 50 people have just died from not having access to clean water, and it's too hot and they don't have air conditioning, right? So, again, we're dealing with a pretty bad deal here. Worsening heat and humidity as a result of climate change will bring extremely dangerous heat indices to much of the United States in the next 30 years, increasing both the intensity and frequency of the hottest days of the year, according to a new study published Monday. Temperatures above the threshold of the National Weather Service's extreme danger category, when the heat index is more than 125 degrees Fahrenheit, is expected to affect about 8 million people in the U.S. this year. But by 2053, 13 times that many people, 107 million, will experience extremely dangerous heat. One sec. So that would be 50 degrees centigrade for those of you that are educated. I don't have the formula in my head, but just a reminder, if you're American, learn centigrade, learn metric. It's not that hard, and then you'll feel better than most other Americans. So just throwing that out there. Will experience extremely dangerous heat, according to the study by the climate research group First Street Foundation. The results indicate that the incidence of extreme heat is growing across the country, both in absolute and relative terms. The study says temperatures in some areas will increase more than in others, including a so-called extreme heat belt stretching from Texas all the way to the Great Lakes, the nonprofit study found. We're fucked, y'all. More than 100 million Americans in this region will experience temperatures above 125 degrees, 52 degrees Celsius, during their... I love how they put this here, but not here. Why? More than 10 times the number expected currently. Using a peer-reviewed extreme heat model, First Street Foundation used property-level data to find the hottest 7 days of the year currently and compared that to the equivalent in 30 years. So, this is kind of what we're dealing with. And then it's going to get a lot worse. Now, again, this is the thing. 30 years from now is when that 107 million number is hit, according to this model, right? But 5 years from now, right around the corner, right? 5 years from now, it's going to be worse. 10 years from now, it's going to be worse, right? It's going to get worse and worse and worse. That's why the thing about the framing of this to me is in 30 years, this will happen. I would prefer an increased percentage, 2 million more Americans will be affected every year or something. That would be my preferred way of delivering this kind of information. You have 107 million affected by 2053. You have 8 million affected now. What is the percentage per year increase, and then that should be the headline, because, 1 million people getting fucked up every year, that's crazy, all right? 2 million people getting fucked up every year, that's crazy. And is anyone going to do anything? I guess not. No one's answering, so I guess no one's going to do anything. That's great. But anyway, you can read more of that if you'd like. This is from CNN. But again, I don't even, as a 26-year-old, as someone that plans on living until I am 200 years old, I'm not gonna lie. I'm a little freaked out. I'm a little freaked out. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie at all. If I were to lie to you, well, I mean, it wouldn't be good because I'm not gonna lie. I'm a little freaked out by this. Right, if you're like 60, I know I got a lot of 60-year-olds in the chat. You're like, oh, where's my goddamn sugar and flour? I need to make some butter, right? Like, these old-ass motherfuckers. Like, oh, my goddamn grandchildren are on my kneecap. Oh, like, oh, I'm driving my 1914 goddamn Henry Ford to the market today. And, like, these motherfuckers, you're not going to have to deal with this. Like, rip, right? But you got to live a good life. And, 30 years from now, 40 years from now, I mean, hey, maybe you'll hold on. But, I'm 57, but I don't talk like that. I'm the progressive Kev with the straight man, like, demolition of my bit. Yeah, that's not funny. I don't talk like that. Oh, Jesus. All right, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Oh, fuck. Anyway, there you go. So, excessive heat incoming. Oh. I got boomer shamed in my Twitch stream yesterday was very fun. My brother comes by and he doesn't watch these streams because it's too early. I can't get up at 10 in the morning. That's the fucking point, you fucking prick. Anyway, but my brother loves to watch my gaming streams because they're later in the day, and that motherfucker was yelling at me. I was uncomfortable. To be honest, I gave him a phone call. I said that I don't, want him to talk to me anymore. We're having, familial disputes. So, but yeah, I got boomer shamed. These motherfuckers, you don't even understand. Like, to you, in the Above It All chat, right, we got a lot of old people in here, and I love the oldies. And, like, to y'all, I'm, like, young, but to anyone younger than me, like, my brother is, like, 22 or some shit, is going to be soon, like, I am old as fuck. I need you to understand, like, the gap between, like, 26 and 60 is smaller than the gap between 22 and 26. Like, I need you, like, I don't know what TikTok is, people were saying, like, Twitch memes, I don't know anything about, like, it's sussy or whatever, I don't know what that means, people are, like, calling people chieftains, and, like, I'm lost, I'm out of the loop, so I need you to understand, like, the gap, like, the generational gap between 26 and 60, pretty large, but really 22 and 26 is like the Grand Canyon, you know what I mean? Like 22 to 26 is like the Marianas Trench, versus like a fucking, I don't know, like an irrigation tunnel or something, it's not that deep. Yeah, so I'm old and I feel old, but in order to feel young, I got to make fun of people that are older than me. So that's kind of what I'm at right now. So to be in my 20s again? Nah, I was dumb AF, and you still are. Motherfuckers 30-something, 40-something, I don't know how old you are, Glam Girl Adel, still eating nachos. You didn't learn a thing. You didn't learn a goddamn thing. Ah! Alright, so let's... Alright, is this like a text interview? I don't know what's going on here, but I'm going to skim through this one. Farminostophilis diffuse the best lifestyle of the left through the garden fuzz shuffles. I have no idea what you're talking about. Is 46 old? You are old as fuck. You are old as fuck. Like, Jesus Christ, how are you still alive? Like, you're walking around and you're like, like when you drop a can on the floor, right? Like on a hardwood or like a, linoleum or tile, and it makes that noise. That's your, like, kneecaps every time you walk, and you're like, right? And people are like, whoa, what the fuck? Like, people, like, they can hear you from a mile away, God damn. 46. Oof. 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 I'm old as fuck, but I still look good. Good genetics in my family. I mean, I hope I can say the same. When you really think about it, though, I'm older than everyone, right? Like, the average age lifespan for transgender people is like 35. So when you think about, like, percentage, right? Like, what is the average lifespan totally? Like 70, 80, right? So as a transgender woman, right, when the average lifespan of people like me is 35, percentage-wise, I'm older than the rest of you. I'm a wise fucking sage coming from another time to, like, tell you about, like, the mysteries of the future, right? Like, percentage-wise, I'm older than everyone else here. So, take that, Jack. Does that sound? Let's drink some more coffee and get into the news. Just so you know, it's inside the rim of the nostril. My fingernail is not breaching, but I got an itch there. Needed the scratch. Anyway. Paladin, shut the hell up. Alright. Trump will do whatever he can to help the country. After FBI raid, temperature has to be brought down. So this is, I guess, a text interview. Because it's with Fox News Digital. I guess that's just text. But there's a couple things in here that I think are interesting. Donald Trump, he's, in my opinion, not doing so well with his hand when it comes to this FBI raid. He's kind of like, every time the FBI raid has, like, a new kind of, like, the DOJ releases the warrant or, like, a new thing comes out or whatever, right? Like, Donald Trump just, like, he keeps lying, right? Instead of, like, manipulating the truth in strategic ways, he's just outright lying over and over, right? So we're in that, like, divergent reality, right? So, like, we're in a shared reality when the FBI raid happens, right? All we know is that there was an FBI raid, right? And then Donald Trump starts talking, right? And then, right, this is the real world, right? Like, this is the real world, and this is the MAGA timeline, right? So, like, as soon as Donald Trump starts talking, right, like, they start to diverge. It's a divergent reality, right? So Donald Trump is, like, just constructing his own world. But the thing is, like, I don't know if that really means anything if you're dealing with the fucking FBI. You know what I mean? So, I don't know. We've also seen a lot of threats of violence against the FBI, which, hey, I mean, where were these fucking right-wing threats of violence against the FBI in the 1960s? You know what I mean? Like, a little late to the party. But anyway, let's read a couple lines of this. Former President Trump said he will do whatever, blah, blah, blah. In an exclusive interview with Fox News Digital on Monday morning, his first since the raid, Trump said he had his representatives reach out to the Justice Department to offer to help amid outrage over the FBI's unprecedented raid on his private residence last week, in which agents seized classified records, including some marked as top secret. Trump is disputing the classification of those records, saying the records have been declassified. So this is the meme, right? So he's saying, oh, I declassified them. What? Yeah, I could just do that. What? So he's citing a law that says that you can declassify anything, but that's actually not true, right? There is like an approval process, and there is like, you have to submit it, right? You have to like say, I am declassifying this. It goes through a process. It gets approved. You can't just take the document on fucking January 20th, like at fucking 11:53 p.m. or a.m., right? You can't just take it and go like, I declare this is declassified, and then just walk out. You know, that's not how it works. That's just not how it works. But anyway, but again, it's the divergent reality. Like, if you're a Trumper and you think he declassified them and they're still going after him, right? You're gonna fucking get a nail gun and go to the FBI office and scream charge, and then no one's gonna be there with you, and then you're gonna get shot in the head by a stupid fucking cop. Quote, this country is in a very dangerous position. There is tremendous anger like I've never seen before over all of, like, you never seen this during January 6th, maybe? You didn't see any tremendous anger on January 6th, 2021? Maybe just a little bit of tremendous anger? I'm not sure. Years of scams and witch hunts, and now this, Trump said. If there's anything we can do to help, I and my people will certainly be willing to do that. Like, help what? Like, help the FBI investigation? Help heal the country? Like what is... Like, that's the thing. Like, Donald Trump, like, his modus operandi is just lying over and over again, because the people that are going to believe what he says, you can get them to believe anything. If they can believe an outright lie, they are capable of believing anything, right? And because, like, the people that like, it's the emperor has no clothes scenario, there's so many people, right, that are like in lockstep with his conspiracy theories, that they can use the group power to initiate peer pressure on people that are closer to them in their political alliances, right? So there's a lot of Republicans that I'm sure know that the FBI raid is for good reason, and that Donald Trump is obviously lying. But, you know, when their sister calls up on the phone and said, "Iron Man, goddamn, you should have been, they know the scam, goddamn," right? Like, you're gonna be like, oh, gee, yeah, you're gonna, it's that peer pressure thing. Right, so the divergent reality, you know, with enough people, they can create a lot of havoc. There has never been a time like this where law enforcement has been used to break into the house of a former president of the United States, and there's tremendous anger in this country at a level that has never been seen before, other than during very perilous times. I mean, okay, yes, it is unprecedented, but, like, also, where is this anger? And, like, imagine, like, I literally cannot imagine going to the FBI office with a nail gun to commit suicide by cop over Donald Trump. Like, I'm going to die by the orange man, right? Like, I will sacrifice my life. Like, actually, Babbitt, I will sacrifice my one life on planet Earth for the sake of the orange man. And they can't even fucking know your name. They don't even know your name, bro. Donald Trump does not even know your name. Like, at least with Ashley Babbitt, he knows the fucking bitch's name. But, like, this motherfucker, like, doesn't even know this guy's name, and he killed himself, suicide by cop, over Donald Trump. Like, imagine how, like, again, like, I can't help but laugh at these people because they're embarrassing, but I need you to understand, dude. Imagine you commit suicide by cop over the orange man, and he literally doesn't even know who you are. Like, oh... Trump told the Fox News team he has not heard yet from the Justice Department on whether they will accept his offer for help. I think they would want the same thing. I've never seen anything like this. It is a very dangerous time for our country. Like, first of all, it's not a dangerous time for your country. Like, it's a dangerous time for you. Like, you personally, yes, it is a dangerous time. The country is doing just fine. The country's great. The country is doing a great fucking job. I will do whatever I can to help the country. So anyway, oh my god. And then they break into a president's house. A sneak attack where it was totally, no one ever thought anything like this would happen. A sneak attack! My man called the FBI raid a sneak attack. Whoa, like a plus 20% multiplier on that shit. A sneak attack. Jesus fucking Christ. So yeah, now he's saying that they planted stuff and all that. Like, he's just listing all the conspiracies here. But yeah, I mean, the point of what I wanted to talk about with this article is, again, it's the divergent reality thing, right? Like, we've been living in, like, multiple, like, series of divergent realities that sometimes they intersect, right? But the thing, think of it like the many worlds theory of quantum mechanics, right? Like, at any moment, right? Your world can break off into another world in the many worlds multiverse, right? But that's actually kind of like the logic that we are actually dealing with in the public consciousness, right? The QAnon people, they're in their own world, right? Like the liberals that love like Hillary Clinton and like cheerlead like fucking Joe Biden all day, they're in their own world, right? The fucking, Trump people, they're in their own world. And sometimes the Trump people and the QAnon people's worlds will intersect and then they'll break off again. And, like it's just like, that's what we're dealing with, right? Like it's the alternative facts theory. When Donald Trump can just lie and there's millions of people that go like, the orange man, I love him. Like, what do you do? Like, how do you... Like, what do you do? Like, again, Donald Trump said, I could shoot someone on Fifth Avenue and people would still vote for me. And that's so true. That is so fucking true, okay? Right? And again, you got these motherfuckers saying, we're going Civil War. We're going to go in with guns. And right? They're insane. Once again, Donald Trump lost the 2020 election. Joe Biden won the 2020 election. That's why Joe Biden is president. And Donald Trump's getting raided by the FBI right now at a stupid golf course, right? So that wouldn't be possible if Donald Trump didn't lose the election. But he did lose the election. And therefore, that's why he's at a stupid golf course. That's why his wife is dead in the backyard of Bedminster, New Jersey. And so on and so forth. So... Anyway, there you go. Orange Man, not so good. Goddamn goober. Blistering app. It's a pretty blistering app, yes it is. Yeah, that's the thing, like, the right wing is angry. Like, imagine this world, right? Like, okay. Like, I'm going to make this a little spin-off segment. Imagine this world. Like, what is the left wing angry about, right? Like, I know this has been done before, but I'm doing it again. The left wing is angry about police forces that overreach their authority. People that don't have, like, access to a fair legal counsel, a fair jury by their peers, right? What is the left upset about? They're upset about cops extrajudicially murdering people, especially people that are running away from them. What are left wingers mad about? Homelessness. Like, why do people have homelessness? Why is homelessness a thing when we have empty hotels all the time? What is the left wing mad about? Oh, the climate's changing and it's going to cause a lot of areas on the planet Earth to be uninhabitable. What is the left upset about? Oh, people are starving and we need access to food and healthcare. People are sick and we need access to healthcare. Now, right? What is the right wing mad about? They're mad about, like, wokeism. What does that mean? I don't know. They're mad about critical race theory. What is critical race theory? It's a college class that talks about, I don't know, maybe white people aren't the greatest thing in the world historically, right? And it just has, like, other race perspectives on history, right? But it's a college class, but they're mad about that, and they're mad about college in general. Right? What is the right wing mad about? They're mad about pronouns, like a simple form of speech. Like we use pronouns almost in every sentence. I just used a couple, right? They're mad about pronouns, right? What is the right wing mad about? They're mad about Donald Trump having, like, the Law and Order guy having to face Law and Order. That's what they're mad about. Isn't that insane? Like, imagine, like, again, I'm talking about this guy who went to the FBI office in Ohio and committed suicide by cop. Like, imagine what has to go through your mind. This is a thought experiment. Like, is there any cause you're willing to die for? Personally, I would say I'm willing to die for a couple of political causes, right? But imagine you're willing to die for the orange man because he got raided by the FBI? Like, imagine you actually get so triggered. And that's what I need people to understand. It's a hair trigger with these right-wingers, right? They will pop off literally at any moment, okay? They spend their entire time being angry online at the fact that kids aren't told that being gay is a sin and that gay people should die, right? That angers them. They spend their whole time online in these, like, echo chamber bubbles where they're just yelling about Democrats all day. Like, Joe Biden's a super communist, like all that kind of shit, right? And so anything could happen at any moment. It's that hair trigger, and they're going to go out there and commit suicide by cop doing something fucking stupid over the fucking orange man, right? Like, the right wing has created, like, their own world, like, it's just completely separate from reality, right? Where, like, Democrats are all super communists, and they all want to throw every Republican in jail. And it's just like, when you live in that world and you think that, oh my God, Nancy Pelosi's coming for my guns, right? Like, maybe you will commit suicide by cop over the orange man getting raided and he doesn't even know your name. Like, that's the thing with these right wingers, is they're all insane. Like, not only one, they're insane. They belong in mental asylums. Two, they're dumb. They're just stupid. Right, like, that's, being insane and being dumb are two different things. I know they're often correlated, right? But there's a lot of really intelligent people that can develop, you know, insanity. They can, you know, develop, you know, certain medical conditions or mental conditions, you know, delirium, schizophrenia, psychosis, right? But they're, you know, overall pretty intelligent people. You know, a lot of, you know, like, you know, authors that get dementia later in their years, right? They're technically insane, but that doesn't make them stupid, right? So I need people to understand those are two different axes, right? But combine insanity with dumb fuckery. Like, Republicans, right-wingers, they're dumb as fuck, right? Like, the average IQ of the right wing is like 30, right? Like, it's like, and that's being generous. Like, that's being fucking generous, right? But like, so you combine insanity with fucking stupid shit, right? So they're all like angry and mad over fictional things, right? Oh no, there's a black person sitting in the restaurant. I'm so mad. Oh, there's a goddamn woman and she's wearing something that makes me horny, but that's bad because she needs to be protecting herself for Jesus, right? Like, you know, these people create these weird fucking things in their brains and they get really angry about them. And all it takes is something like, oh, Trump got it raided by the FBI. Well, it's time to go kill myself. Suicide by cop. You know, like that guy who fucking blew his brains out at the U.S. Capitol. I don't know if that's confirmed to be a Trumper yet, right? But like I look at Kyle Rittenhouse. Like, Kyle Rittenhouse went out there and shot and killed 2 people. Why? Because the black people are rioting, looting. Do you have a personal stake in these businesses that are getting burned to the ground? No. Do you, like, know anybody involved in these? No. Do you, like, but I'm gonna go there and bring my gun and engage in war. For what? For property? So that a gas station, like, doesn't need to collect its insurance money? Like, you know, but they're on this, like, this meat train. Like, they're gassing themselves up and they're waiting for any moment for that fucking shit to snap. And that's what we're dealing with. We're dealing with, and I need you to understand, it's millions of these motherfuckers. Millions of them. This isn't like thousands. This isn't hundreds. This isn't dozens. There are millions and millions of these people, right? Millions, like dozens of millions of these people, right? That live in another world. They want to kill people for fighting for justice. They want to kill people for just being transgender. They want to kill people for just being gay. They want to kill people for just being black and around kids or something. Like, oh, there's a black kid in my class. Let's get the guns, right? Like, they are insane. And that's what we're dealing with, right? And they're all over the place. It's not like they're just concentrated in, like, Nebraska. It's not like they're just concentrated in, like, fucking Texas. They're literally all over the place. There are sleeper cells of unstable lunatics that are dumb as fuck all over the fucking country. And at any moment, and a lot of them have military training, right? Because what do stupid fucking people do when they're bored? They go join the military, right? That's one of the major things that right-wingers do. They go join the military, they get military training for their stupid fucking shit, they kill a bunch of brown people overseas and rape their fucking wives and, you know, murder their children. You ever seen these Iraq war crimes that the American troops committed? Jesus fucking Christ. You see the shit that they do to kids in Afghanistan? My fucking God, right? So they join the fucking military. Like that guy that went to the FBI office was a military guy, right? They've got military training. They're dumb as fuck. They don't know how to fucking, like, socialize, and they're insane. And that is a fucking serious problem. And they're everywhere. They're in New York. They're in Virginia. They're in fucking, you know, in Michigan, they tried to kidnap the fucking governor, right? These people are insane. They're insane, and they're dumb, and that's a powerful combo. That is a powerful combo. If someone is so fucking stupid that they're willing to do whatever the orange man says, and they're insane enough to believe that it's true, and they're insane enough to go out and do those things, that's how you get January 6th. So anyway, I don't want to be a doomer, but Civil War II coming soon to theaters near you. And I mean that in the sense that there's going to be like another theater mass shooting. Remember those? Those don't happen too much anymore because of the pandemic. I don't go to movie theaters, but yeah. Anyway, that's a joke about mass shootings. So there you go, a little levity for you. Yeah, there you go. Sniffle snuff. I think it's pretty undebatable that 99% of in order to be a right winger, you have to be stupid. Like there is no way an intelligent person can be a right winger. Like they might be intelligent in a very specific section, but they don't have general intelligence, right? I'm talking about general intelligence, right? Like, Ben Carson can be really well researched on doing brain surgery, but that doesn't translate to general intelligence. General intelligence is being able to interact with the world, intake new information, update your model of the universe, right? Gain new information, have that new information affect how you interact with the world. Right-wingers don't have that. They don't have general intelligence. They might have highly specialized intelligence in certain areas, like military training, right? Like, Ben Carson's the brain surgeon, right? They might be really good at writing, fiction or something, right? But they do not have general intelligence. They're like a subhuman kind of species, when it comes to intelligence, in my opinion. I agree. Human love solidarity. I don't think it's a logical fallacy at all. If you live in an alternate world, right, and you create the conditions to live in that alternate world, again, you don't really have that much of general intelligence going on. Oh my god, yeah, the Ron DeSantis thing. I have that, actually. I want to play that Ron DeSantis thing. This is crazy. This is so fun. All right. Thank you for reminding me about this. So Ron DeSantis, really smart guy. So he passed the Don't Say Gay bill. And basically what that did is it caused a teacher shortage in Florida because a bunch of people that were they're teachers and they just happen to be gay and they got shit canned. So there's a teacher shortage in Florida. Also, teachers that aren't gay are leaving and quitting in solidarity because Florida is a horrible place to teach in general. So what do? Well, we bribe a bunch of fucking meathead Neanderthals to teach our kids. When I was young, I grew up in New Jersey when I was in school. And every once in a while, we'd get these ex-military substitute teachers. You know what I mean? Ex-military substitute teachers. And they're crazy. Like, they go in there and they treat it like it's fucking boot camp, I don't know if anyone's ever dealt with this, but I've dealt with this, right? So what better thing to do than make them permanent teachers? This is Ron DeSantis.
If you served in the...
This is fucking... The volume is so goddamn low. Oh, okay. That's my fault.
...military for at least 4 years, were honorably discharged, have taken 60 college credits, and passed a subject area exam, we want you to be able to teach Florida students. Our veterans have a wealth of knowledge and experience they can bring to bear in the classroom, and with this innovative approach, they will be able to do so for 5 years with a temporary certification as they work towards their degree. For too long, the requirements to be a teacher have been too rigid, with union bosses insisting that all educators get certain credentials that often have little impact on teaching performance. Every morning, our students recite the Pledge of Allegiance while looking at the Star-Spangled Banner, and it's fitting that the teacher in the classroom is somebody who took an oath and put his...
Just a reminder that the Pledge of Allegiance is quite literally fascism. Like, just the concept of pledging allegiance to a flag in the corner of the room that's like wilted away, like sad looking. That is fascism. That is textbook like fascism. There is no... I'm sorry, in my opinion, I genuinely think patriotism in general is in direct opposition to justice. I think patriotism in general is in direct opposition to left-wing values. I think it's in direct opposition to everything that leftists stand for. I don't think it's possible to be a patriotic leftist. I just don't. Like, you can have some things you like about America or whatever, but like anyone that pledges allegiance to a flag, to me, they're a zombie. Like, they're a zombie, right? Like, for me, when I was a kid, I remember, like, you know, in 4th, 5th grade, I was starting to realize, like, oh, what the fuck? And then I stopped doing it. Why? Because I didn't like it. It made me uncomfortable. Like, one nation under God. I don't even know what God is. I tried praying. God's not real. You know, I don't even like this country. I'm poor. This country doesn't do shit for me. I'm hungry. I would go days without eating when I was young. So I'm hungry. We can't afford food. My mom hates me. This country sucks. You know, like, I don't like this country. People in fucking school bully me. I'm not fucking, there's no pledge to this stupid fucking flag. Right? So, but again, like, anyone that's willing to just like, oh, yep, got a Pledge of Allegiance. Like, to me, as far as I'm concerned, it makes them a zombie. Right? Now, again, I'm aware that, you know, you can be a non-zombie and just try to blend in for, like, you know, other reasons, whatever. But, like, man, oh man, the Pledge of Allegiance, I get triggered by that, so.
His or her life on the line to preserve, protect, and defend our flag and the freedom it represents. From devil dogs to salty dogs and doughboys to flyboys, we respect our veterans and know that they have a lot to offer. Thanks so much, and God bless.
So, real quick, what is the homeless veteran population in Florida? Does anyone know that? What is the homeless veteran population in this country, right? But in Florida especially. Like, imagine if Ron DeSantis were doing something actually interesting and said, oh, if you're a homeless veteran anywhere in the country, come to Florida, get $5,000, and we'll start, you know, making you a teacher. Right? You know, that would be a little something, right? He did that with cops or whatever. If you got fired for being anti-woke, you can come here and be a cop, right? So, you know, I don't know, man. I don't know. But I think it's hilarious. The idea that military people are going to teach kids about, like, English. I mean, the same people that are triggered by pronouns are going to teach English class, right? You know, military fucking meatheads are going to teach fucking algebra. I mean, I'm sure it's theoretically possible that some of them could learn it and be able to teach it. But, you know, like, this idea, like, the war on teachers, right? Another thing in this little clip here is that he was going after teachers' unions, right? I need people to understand this is a war on teachers. That's what this is. Now, I have little faith in public schooling. I've been to public school. I'm 26 years old. It was in public school relatively recently compared to a lot of people like Ron DeSantis and older people, right? So, and I can tell you public schooling, not good. It's actually really bad, right? But they're, like, as bad as it is, I've had some teachers in my, in my time in the public school system that actually I felt like they cared a little bit, right? Like, they cared a little bit, right? And, like, to me, I respect that. You know, like, the curriculum that they were forced to I remember I had this conversation with my biology teacher in high school, and I asked my biology teacher why he didn't cover evolution in biology class, right? And the answer was, like, that they wouldn't let him. Like, I remember, I had a conversation with him once, and he would tell me that, sorry, like, they didn't let us. like, this is, this is 10 years ago, by the way, like 11, 12 years ago, maybe. Like, and creationism versus evolution was still, like, up in the air. We don't know. Was Darwin right? Who knows, right? And so it's crazy to me that, like, the power that these right-wingers have over curriculums. That's crazy. In New Jersey, by the way. Right, but they, like, a teacher's willing to break the character to have a conversation, and that's interesting. But those teachers are increasingly being removed and exorcised or excised from the teachers force, especially in states like Florida. They don't want teachers that actually care, right? They want teachers that are indoctrinators. They want to indoctrinate kids into a fascist worldview, right? And that's crazy. That's what they're going for in Florida. First, it's demonized the teachers. Then it's demonized gay teachers. First they came for the gays, and I said nothing because I'm not gay, right? Then it's demonized teachers unions, and then it's bringing the meatheads. You know what I mean? It's pretty crazy. It's pretty crazy. And is anyone going to do anything about it? No. Are we just going to keep sliding into the hell world? Yeah. So, there you go. Snuffles, like, I don't know what your game is, but, like, you somehow managed to, like, have, like, the worst take on everything I talk about. a damaging position. You can't make significant change with no political power. You simply are not going to gain political power being anti-patriotic. Sad reality. What makes you think this 48 viewer show on YouTube is trying to like overthrow the system of government? Like, I am not that narcissistic, and I am not that fucking insane to think, like, I'm not like a Marxist-Leninist, like fucking Stalinist who thinks that I'm going to unseat Joe Biden and control the levers of power. I'm a stupid fucking person on YouTube, right? Like, I don't care. Oh no, I can't win an election being anti-patriotic. Well, tell me, remind me what election I'm trying to win, you know? Come on now, man. Stop taking this shit so fucking seriously. And if I were to run an election, I would run on an anti-patriotism campaign. I would run, knock on people's doors and say, hi, I'm running for whatever the fuck, and I want you to know that I hate America and I hate Americans. If you want more information, take this literature. That's what I'm gonna fucking do. And you know what? Fuck it. It sounds fun. I resent this fucking country. I hate this fucking country. I'm not going to pretend to like the country because I might, theoretically, there's a 0.01% chance I might run for office and win. So I'm going to spend my whole life pretending I like the country. Right? Like, fuck. All right. I'm going to do one more news story for today, and it's banger, so. And then we'll get into movies and television. Movies and television, folks. Real quick. I'm going to do a movie review of a movie called Ex Machina. I don't know if Bob Carmati's here, but so if you haven't seen it, tune out. Then I'm going to do Better Call Saul, and got a lot to say about Better Call Saul. So, but before that, we're going to talk about Marjorie Taylor Greene. She's got an idea. She's got a theory that I really want to touch on. This is a theory of what is causing this crisis in white male spaces. They're playing video games. They're watching pornography. Some of them, maybe even, masturbating to cartoons from Japan. Hey, no judgment here. But anyway, so what is Marjorie Taylor Greene's... She's gotten to the bottom of this. Why is this happening? Let's watch.
What does everything tell you guys through Hollywood, through books, through music, through our entire culture is that white men are bad. White men, they're bad. They have to be pushed to the back. They shouldn't be listened to. But what that's done to your generation and
can we talk about this guy, by the way? Like, who is this guy? Like, I'm gonna look this guy's Twitter up. Real D Schmidt. Like, first of all, that's not a real name. Like, yeah, my last name is Schmidt. Like, what? How many followers does this guy have? This guy has 27K followers. Like, can we talk about real quick? Marjorie Taylor Greene, the right does this and the left doesn't. The left, like, honestly, even, like, let's even talk about the Squad, right? Bernie Sanders, right? Like, the left and Democrats, they hate online media. Let's be real. Like, let's be honest. When have you seen recently, like, AOC going on a fucking podcast where the lead character has 20,000 fucking Twitter followers? You've never seen that, right? Like, that's never happened, right? Maybe unless I'm missing something. But, like, to me, that's hilarious. But also, so she's talking to a nobody, and then this guy's got, like, the green screen, like, skyscraper background. Like, this is embarrassing stuff. This is really bad. But she goes on here, and now he's got 1 million views on the clip. So anyway, let's keep going.
And even some of those a little older than you and those definitely younger than you, it has created hopelessness in many of these guys. Hopelessness, they're lost. They grow up in a broken home or maybe just a really bad home. No one is there for them as they're growing up. They spend time hours and hours alone, which is what do they do with their time when they're alone? They don't have an after-school job if they're in high school. Maybe they probably don't play a sport. So they're spending hours and hours time alone, which turns them to all kinds of bad things, porn on the internet, reading crazy stuff in chat rooms, and God knows who's in there and saying what they're saying.
I love how, like, she's just describing, like, her Saturday afternoon, right? Like, looking up porn all day and, like, yelling in chat rooms about, like, fucking Jewish space lasers or some shit.
A lot of time playing video games, and I know people don't like to demonize video games, but I do think that maybe has a role there for certain people. But what hopelessness brings—
So, okay, I want to talk about this. I want to disseminate this a little bit, because there is, like, a little thing that's interesting here, right? Is like, so the media, right? The celebrities in Hollywood, what are they doing? Well, they're not demonizing straight white people at all, really. It just so happens that straight white people are not setting good examples, right? So a lot of these mass shooters, straight white men, Trump supporters, right? A lot of these mass shooters, far right, Trump supporting neo-Nazis, right? So, let's be honest, there's not that many good examples for the white people. But, you can make that argument about any race. If you really want to, you can make the argument. It's not going to be a good one, but you could, right? But the media and celebrities and media and cartoons and television and music, right? Basically, this is a backlash to the idea that, oh shit, there's a black person who has like a #1 song on the fucking charts or whatever, and that's never happened in my lifetime, right? Like, oh shit, there's a black person on a popular TV show. Oh fuck, there's a transgender person who released a music video that people like. That's really what they're responding to, is it's like there's more room in mainstream culture for people that aren't white and straight and men, right? And so that room is being filled with people that are, again, not white, not straight, not men, right? And that triggers the white straight men, because they're used to, in society, they're used to being able to, like, just walk through, like, when you're at Disneyland or whatever and you got the Easy Pass thing and you just, like, cut through the line. That's what they're used to on a daily fucking basis, right? And so when they see that alter, they feel like they're under attack. Are they under attack? No, they're not. But they feel like it's like a zero-sum kind of game, right? They feel like they're losing power, they're losing something, right? And that's like an ethereal feeling, right? And that's the thing, right? And then you have the right-wingers that, like, will look at that and they will try to, craft, like, an ultimate weapon out of that kind of, like, subterranean feeling, you know what I mean? Right? Like, oh, isn't that, I remember, when I was a kid or when my dad was a kid, all the cartoons would be white people, and it's a little weird that all these woke black people are on TV, right? And then Marjorie Taylor Greene comes to them and says, do you play video games? Do you jerk yourself off on a daily basis? Well, I got news for you. It's because you're being discriminated against and you got to join the MAGA cult, right? So that's kind of what's going on here, is like you take white people that, like, are they terrible people? Maybe, maybe not, right? But they kind of feel like maybe they're left out. And is it stupid? Is it illogical? Yes. But then you take that kind of, like, subterranean feeling and then you just wrap it in the conspiracy. You wrap it into, and that's how you get the people that go to, like, the Buffalo supermarket and murder a bunch of black people because they want to, like, they think that, oh, if I murder 20 black people, then the white race will be saved, right? And they're like, the race warriors, like that motherfucker in Christchurch, New Zealand, who's like, we're gonna save the white race from extinction, and like that's how you get this fucking shit, right? That is that is the end of the spectrum, right? You start off being like, a nerd that jerks off to hentai, and hey, I'm just saying, no judgment here. I jerk off to hentai all the time. But then, Marjorie Taylor Greene says something interesting and you get into it, you join the groups chats, and maybe you watch a couple of YouTubers and they're saying all this stuff. 3 years later, you're shooting up a supermarket, right? And that's the through line here that we really need to understand. And I'm not, I don't know what to do about that. I really don't. I have no idea. Like, there needs to be an alternate way that these people can enjoy life without turning to crazy conspiracy theories. And I think for most people, they're just like, they don't care about this stuff at all. But again, there's that group of people that, for whatever reason, maybe it's the zeitgeist steering them in this direction, but like, they're just more susceptible to these conspiracy theories, and then they become dangerous fucking psychopaths, right? So you need to cut out the problem before it manifests, right? What's the best way to fight cancer, right? When it's starting to develop, we like get an early cancer screening. Oh shit, we got some cancer here. Don't wait until you're Walter White fucking coughing up blood and passing out at the car wash, right? You know what I mean? And that's what we need to deal with in this country. We need to deal with the problems as they're starting and not as they're already, manifesting negatively. Anyway, I think it's hilarious that Marjorie Taylor Greene goes on these like really small shows, and I really wish more like Democrats or left wingers would do that. Like someone in the chat said that Ro Khanna goes on small podcasts. Hey, can I get Ro Khanna on my show? I'd love to get Ro Khanna on my show. I got a lot of things to say to Ro Khanna. But I don't. It's just weird to me that left wingers don't like. There's really less attachment to the base in my perspective. Anyway, there you go. How often should you masturbate? Every couple days. I mean, it depends, right? I think she was on her own show. I don't know. Either way, she's boosting these like no names, right? And that's the thing here. Kevin McLean, the right understands they need to appear to be anti-elite. That's why they go everywhere. That's correct, yeah. And they also, like, they know that, like, the right-wing mythology, right? Like, they're, like, leaders in this mythology, right? In this fake, like, war for the white race thing. They recognize that they have powerful positions, right? So when they do these show appearances, right, it helps them kind of relate to the everyman, right? And it creates that connection to the ethereal mythology. Who am I going to have as a guest this week? I don't know. I don't know if I ever said I would do guests once a week. If your downstairs aches, you're probably doing it too much. I don't, how long do you need to go to, like, start getting aches, Like 5 hours, Like, I don't, like, if you're going 30 minutes, you're probably fine, but you need to go at that shit for, like, 5-6 hours and then, then talk about aches. And I am not talking from personal experience. I am not speaking from personal experience at all. But I can't imagine having aches like that. The demon is wearing makeup today. I've never worn makeup in my life, so I have no idea what you're talking about. This is just how I am naturally beautiful. Yeah, don't you hate when you're fucking masturbating and then you get bored? Like, what's the point? Right? Like, to me, if I get bored when I'm masturbating, I don't even bother finishing. Like, why even finish? I'm bored. Like, it's no longer fun, That happens to me a lot. Anyway, enough about my masturbation habits. Let's get into the movies and television portion of the program. I get distracted, ADHD kicks in, Like, I find myself, like, I can't watch porn, right? Like porn that has, like, actual people in it. Because, like, I'm always obsessed with, like, what they're thinking. You know what I mean? Like, what is this person thinking as they're making this pornography that I'm watching? And I always, like, I can't help myself but look at people's rooms. You ever see this porn? And it's, like, they're in their bedroom or whatever, and there's a mirror in the background, and you can get, like, a whole good view of their whole room, and there's, like, you see, like, fucking, like, Coca-Cola cans, all, you know what I mean? Like, I just can't get into it. I just can't. My brain does not, I can't process, like, quote-unquote real porn. It's too much for me. It's too much stimulation. Anyway, let's talk about movies. I mean, this movie is basically porn when you really think about it. So last night, I did shrooms, and prepping for the Better Call Saul finale. Before I watched Better Call Saul, I watched a film called Ex Machina, and so this poster here, I mean, I don't know, like this movie is really interesting, right? So I know the person who made this movie. I believe their name is like Alex Garland or some shit. I've seen their show called Devs, which I highly recommend. They have a show on Hulu, FX or whatever called Devs. It's basically like an 8 or 9 hour movie, and it's really good. But they made this before that, and I've never seen it. So to me, I was going in having seen Devs, which I enjoy. And so this is a movie about AI, and whether or not like AI can be, like how intelligent they are or whatever. It's kind of like a pseudo horror movie. And you know, one thing I noticed, like, and you can kind of tell this looking at the poster, but one thing I noticed about this movie is the movie is really horny, right? Like, there's, like, a lot of, like, sexual shit in this movie, which I did not expect. I didn't, you know, in retrospect, all right, I get it, right? But, like, going into the movie, now keep in mind, I was taking drugs. I'm on drugs, which I do not recommend because they're bad for you and they're illegal. But I was on drugs watching this movie. And, like, so I'm thinking, like, oh, it's just going to be a cool AI. Like, they're going to try to escape and, you know, maybe they'll kill someone. And then, like, there's, like, a whole scene about, like, you know, like, oh, I think she likes you. And it's like, oh, okay, you know. Anyway, so there's two main characters and then the AI, right? The two main characters. The thing about this movie that is really interesting is that there's so few actual, like, characters on screen. Like, a lot of this, like, it feels like one of those pandemic movies, but this was made in 2015. Right? There's really only, like, 3 or 4 actors that are really, like, have any role at all. And that's interesting to me. But, so, anyway, so some, like, tech genius guy makes an AI in secret. He has a secret compound on, like, an island or some shit. I don't know. And some other guy gets chosen, gets flown out on a helicopter to go to this island to go, like, test out the AI because he, you know, and he signs the NDA or whatever. And, like, one thing I loved about this movie is, like, this compound enclave is, like, super high-tech. It's got that, like, weird modernism kind of design where it's, like, all the rooms are, like, there's only one, like, piece of artwork on the wall, and then there's, like, it's built around, like, a cave, so there's, like, rocks all over the place. It's visually interesting, but not interesting at the same time, right? You know, but anyway. So he interviews this guy, and it's like, all right, you're going to test out the AI. And then he goes in, tests out the AI, and then, like, you know, it's like a horror movie vibes, right? And so, but, like, it's a weird thing, because then the AI tells the other guy that the tech bro is actually a bad guy, right? And makes up this whole elaborate scheme. And the tech bro is kind of in on it, right? Because the tech bro knows that the AI is going to want to use this guy to escape. So he kind of is leading both of them on. But then they both factor in that he's leading them on. And so they lead him on with the leading. And there's, like, you know, the double, triple twist or whatever at the end. I thought it was pretty good. This movie is just really good. I don't know how to review it. I really don't. Like, this is one of those movies that you just need to kind of watch it. It's kind of like an experience, you know? I think overall it's pretty good. I mean, I would absolutely say that this is a fun movie to watch on shrooms, for sure. There's a lot of visual, like, interesting stuff going on in the visual realm, right? Like, the dialogue is, like, very awkward and strange, you know what I mean? Right? So it's like, but it's a good movie. It's a really good movie. I enjoyed it. I would also, again, recommend their series, Alex Garland's series, Devs, on Hulu. It's just really good. I mean, that's a good fucking series, so I'm into that. But yeah, this movie was really good. The AI, you know, I don't want to spoil the ending if you haven't seen it, but, you know, does the AI escape? You know, who knows? It's impossible to tell. But it's just it's a good movie. I liked the stabbing scene. The stabbing scene is when that motherfucker goes like, whoo, slips right in. Now again, I'm on shrooms, right? And, like, when the knife slips in and there's no sound effect and the blood starts pouring out, I'm like... And then there's that scene where the motherfucker is, like, cutting their wrist because they don't know if they're a robot or not. Right? You know what I mean? That's just crazy. I was freaking out watching that. Because, you know, I have had a history of self-harm. And watching that scene when he's like cutting his wrist open in the worst way possible for no reason, right? And there's blood gushing out, and he's oh my god. Now keep in mind I'm on shrooms, so I'm like I couldn't look away. I was like, I gotta watch the movie because I was freaking out. But anyway, Ex Machina, check it out. It's a really horny movie. Like, again, like there's a lot of like, you know, I mean, like look at this poster, you know what I mean? Like what the hell's going on there? Like the bitch is a robot, and you know, I don't know what's going on. But it's a really horny movie, unexpectedly. But it's also good. So if you like robots, you like AI, and you like horror vibes, and you like a horny robot, this is a movie for you. I recommend it. So there you go. Your hair looks good. Of course it does. It always looks good. Anyway, we're going to be talking about Better Call Saul, which is the best show ever made of all time. And we're going to be talking about it. No kids die in it too, so I give it a 6 out of 10. That is true. There are no dead kids. So we got a show. One more segment. If you haven't seen Better Call Saul, I demand that you get the fuck out. Get the hell out. Just a reminder, it is mandatory if you are watching the stream. It is mandatory to constantly compliment my appearance, because I need that. I need that in my life. If I don't stream this is why I stream daily, so that people will compliment me every day, and I get that like energy boost. You know, some people drink coffee. Well, I also drink coffee, but you know, some people drink coffee. Some people do a daily podcast at 10 a.m. so they can get a bunch of horny motherfuckers telling them that they look hot. So just throwing that out there. You know, you got to do that, so it's mandatory. But now let's get into Better Call Saul. Better Call Saul, folks. It's well, I mean, I can very confidently say that it's the best show ever made. I mean, I don't say that lightly. But it is the best show ever made. So anyway, here's my little screen grab here. And so save all the Q-cock, the questions, comments, or concerns for after the review. Folks in the chat, I'll get to some questions after this. Well, let's talk about Better Call Saul. So the final episode. Holy Macintosh. I mean, it's an episode. I don't know what to say. So I didn't know what to expect. I went into this. My only thing going into the last season here was that I hope Kim Wexler survives. That was my only like prediction that I really cared about. And it appears that I am satisfied with that. I had no idea after last week's episode, Gene getting exposed, Gene aka Saul aka Jimmy getting exposed. I had no idea how it was gonna go. Like, would he be on the run? Right, one of the adverts, was him calling like the Hoover guy, who unfortunately died, so he couldn't be in the show itself, unfortunately. But did he get another identity? Is he gonna like meet up with Kim somehow? Is like, what's going on, right? But I love that like they play it so well, because like he's hiding in the dumpster, he's got the phone, he's got the cash, like he's memorizing the line to say on the phone, he's about to get out. And then the cops like just bang on the dumpster and they see him, and then it's over. And I don't know, man, like, now keep in mind, I did a lot of shrooms. I did many inches of many shrooms, watching this. I've been trying to do that every single week, cause it just, you only get to see these episodes the first time once, right? So you got to enjoy it. Like when he was in the dumpster, that scene felt like it was so long and it was so anxiety inducing, right? And then he drops the money in the dumpster, and it's like, and then the symbolism of him getting picked up in the dumpster, like that was his last mark. Fuck me, it was so good. I thought it was possible that they got him, but they got him like in the first, like, what, 15 minutes or 10 minutes? You know what I mean? Like, and of this show, of the finale, was after getting arrested, right? And that's what I didn't expect that. But I thought it was really good. Like when he like did the whole thing where he like got the government to give him 7 years, and he actually had that deal, right? Because you know he just knows the law so well or whatever. That scene where he's crying to fucking Hank's wife, not to be confused with Peggy Hill, right? And then immediately just is like, yeah, well, you know, someone on the jury might buy it. And then they're all like, oh, they know he's scamming them, right? It's great. It was a great moment. Just every single scene. I love how they kept it in black and white. It was so good. Like the whole show was basically black and white, except for the flashback scenes. And except for like the cigarette at the end when Kim and Jimmy are smoking. That was great. But then you have the flashback scenes, like the one with Walter, where they're talking about the time machine. I love the time machine thing. Unexpectedly, Chuck comes back for a flashback. My God, it was just so good. The whole show was great. The walking through the desert with Mike, it's just all really good. It's just such a good show, man. I really like. There's no words. I mean, like I can sit here and talk about every scene and go like, "Whoa, did you see that?" You know what I mean? But no, for real. Like, did you see that shit? Like, I mean, it's such a good show. And so then, you know, obviously in the previous episode, Kim does like a big confession, right? And so when Jimmy learns about this, he decides, you know what? Fuck it. I'm going to confess to the whole thing. And then you have that scene where he's in the courtroom and he's like, Walter White would have died without me. Walter White would have been arrested without me. I'm the mastermind behind Breaking Bad. It's all me. And it's like, Walter's dead, right? So he's not going to be able to respond, right? And so like just him taking that credit for it, like at the end, like he had that 7-year deal. He could have been out and could have lived like, you know, 40 years outside, you know. But he was like, fuck it, I'm going to confess. And it was great. And I loved it. I thought it was wonderful, and it was anxiety-inducing, but also really good. And then the scene where he's on the prison bus and everyone recognizes him. Oh, it's so good. I mean, it's such a good show. I mean, the thing about this episode is this is like absolutely like an episode where it's like every moment of this episode, the writers are up their own asshole and they're smelling their farts. And you know what? I'm here for it because the show is so good. Right, like this episode is just like a greatest hits compilation, right? You got like a fucking flashback to the desert scene with the pee bottle. You got a flashback with Walter White, you know, so that's great. You got a flashback to the brother Chuck, and then you got like Kim and Jimmy, like, you know, smoking again at the end, and just like it's a great ep. I don't know what to tell you. Such a good ep, man. I don't know, like I know everyone in the chat's talking about vibrators right now, but you know, you should be talking about how good Better Call Saul is. I mean, wow. It's just such a good show. Like, again, I don't know how to, I really don't know how to explain how good of a show this is. But it's just so good. I can't, like, again, this is like, it's like the Mona Lisa or the Starry Night of cinema. You know, I need, like, that's my, like, you know, everyone knows the Mona Lisa. Everyone's seen the Mona Lisa. Maybe not in person, right? But, you know, most people, if not everyone, knows about Starry Night. But, like, in order to be a human being, in my opinion, in order to be a civilized member of any society, in the year 2022 or forward, you need to watch Better Call Saul. Breaking Bad also, probably, but Better Call Saul is far superior in my opinion. Like, you are not a complete, like imagine, like, I can't, like, you know, it's like when I go out there and say, oh, I'm seeing Ghostbusters for the first time, like, what? Like, you know, that I'm a stupid motherfucker, right? Like, you are not a complete person. You are not allowed to interact with other people in a civilized society realm without having seen the show. I mean, it really is. It's impossible to not like this show. Anyone that says that this show is bad, I mean, like, let's be real. We got to be honest with ourselves and each other.
Only the really, I hate to say this, but those with the lowest IQ.
You got to watch this show. Yeah, I love when Saul is, like, in the clip where Saul's working in the fucking, like, the prison kitchen and he's making the Cinnabon, you know, stuff. Like, it looks like he's making Cinnabons. And then, like, everyone's just super cool with him, and they're all, like, you know, doing the fucking fist bumps and, like, oh, hey, ooh, ah. It's just great. It's just so good. I mean, it's so good. And then the title of the episode, Saul Gone. Oh. I mean, I'm in. I'm all in. It's such a good fucking show. Such a good fucking show. I can't recommend this enough. I really just cannot. Like, if someone asked me if you were to recommend one TV show, this is the show. This is the best show ever made. And I'm not even joking. Like, the fact that I am watching it end, and I know I'm going to watch this show like 40 more times before I die, that to me is incredible. Like, this is a show that's endlessly entertaining. It's just perfect. I don't know what else to say. It's perfect. So, and again, Breaking Bad, when Breaking Bad ends, that's a 10 out of 10. But Breaking Bad has been retroactively made a 9 out of 10 because this show is so good. It's a 10, it's perfect, and it's better than Breaking Bad, so therefore Breaking Bad has to go from a 10 to a 9. You know what I mean? I don't know what else to say. I mean, it's just such a good... Just, whew. Getting goosebumps. Oh! Anyway, that's Better Call Saul, folks. It's over. Damn. What an ep. Alright, QCock, folks. Questions, comments, or concerns. If you have questions, field them directly into the chat room. If you have comments or concerns, field them into the chat room. Post them if you have anything you need to know, or want to say to me or about me. Now is the time. So, get them in. Get them in. Kim's new man, that was so funny. Like that scene where it's just like they're arguing about like Miracle Whip or whatever, and then it cuts to them like at a uncomfortable social event, and then it cuts to them like fucking awkwardly, and then it cuts away. Like, that was hilarious to me. Like, the way I read it is Kim just hit rock bottom, right? And just doesn't have any standards or self-esteem, you know? Who's my next guest? I don't know. Depends on who gets booked. How's my day been so far? Not bad. I woke up at approximately 9:30 after... Well, last night, I celebrated. I'm not going to lie. Last night, I was celebrating Better Call Saul. I did a lot of drugs. You know... I did some weed. It's a good drug, which I don't recommend. It's actually a really bad drug because it's illegal. Did some mushrooms, combined those, which is usually for me, that combination is a little unstable. I've had many experiences where I do a lot of weed and a lot of mushrooms together, and I have multiple freakouts. But I kept it together for Better Call Saul. And then I ate a giant plate of spaghetti. Afterward, I made spaghetti and ate a giant plate of spaghetti and drank wine. And I was a little fucked up last night. In fact, to be honest, I barely remember going to sleep. I kind of vaguely remember falling asleep, but I mostly remember waking up. So, but yeah, I woke up at like 9:30. So I'm still like in the first like 2 hours of my day. So as far as my day, I don't know. I guess it's good. It's not a real vibrator if it doesn't destroy your every bone in your body. I'm going to be honest, y'all, I've never used a vibrator. So, it sounds fun. I've had the idea before. But I don't know, like just, to me, it's a little scary. Like having electrical parts all up inside me. You know what I mean? I don't want anything that's like plugged in. It's like the same thing with an electric toothbrush. I'm a little nervous when, you put an electric toothbrush in your mouth and it starts buzzing, all it takes is one mistake and then boom, your mouth is blown off like Gus in fucking Breaking Bad. You know what I mean? So I'm a little retro when it comes to that. Is my mouth feeling better? It's like 10% of what it was like 1 week ago. Like last Monday, it's like 10% of that. So it's not all the way better, but it's mostly better. You ask your audience for movie recommendations. Are you asking me to ask my audience? Okay. Movie recommendations, go. You didn't wake up, it's all a dream? Fuck! Miracle Whip or Mayo? I don't really like either of them, to be honest with you. How are you? I think I already answered that. What's your opinion on vibrators? I inadvertently answered that question. So you do you best on drugs? I don't even know what you're saying. What do you think about Mary snitching on Saul and not saving her son? That's really funny, actually. Like, that's like totally just like, that's the next spin-off of Better Call Saul, is like, you know, insert something that alliterates with Jeff, you know, and it's the story of him, like, at that moment trying to get out of jail, you know. Don't mess with Jeff or some shit. I don't know, it's not great. DC low V. Paladin, I think I already said that. Afraid of electrical parts? Yeah, I mean, you know. Imagine if I got a pacemaker. Fuck. I don't know, man. Maybe it's irrational. I use a hairbrush. I feel it. Saul gets Saulnesia in the next series. Whoa. Reservoir Dogs, Bad Lieutenant. All right. I love that scene where, like, Jeff is freaking out about the cops and he's sweating and he's having, like, a meltdown. And then it cuts to the cops and they're eating, like, tacos or something and they're not paying attention at all, right? It's perfect, right? Because it shows how stupid cops are. And it shows that, like, you know, the anxiety of it. Oh, so good. Repo Man, all right. It's in the list. It's all mental. All right, anyone. If you have any more Q-Cocks, question, comments, or concerns, hurry the fuck up. Hurry the fuck up. Get them in. Get them the hell in. It appears 69% of my audience have a low IQ. Up 68 changed. Go! Go! Now's your last chance. So much pressure. What is the next recipe? I don't know. What am I going to eat today? You'll find out in a couple weeks when I show it on Cooking with the Bitch, so I can't spoil it. Used ball bats? What? Used ball bats? Like baseball? Because I don't play baseball. I have nothing. I just enjoy the show. Well, it's a little sad. Taxi Driver's good. I've never seen Citizen Kane. All right, y'all. That is the show. By the way, follow me on twitch.tv. I might be streaming later. I don't know. Okay, bye.
And then they have cans of soup. Soup. And they throw the cans of soup. That's better than a brick because you can't throw a brick. It's too heavy. But a can of soup, you can really put some power into that, right? And then when they get caught, they say, no, this is soup from my family. They're so innocent. This is soup from my family. It's incredible. And you have people coming over with bags of soup, big bags of soup, and they lay it on the ground, and the anarchists take it and they start throwing it at our cops, at our police. And if it hits you, that's worse than a brick because it's got force. It's the perfect size. It's like made perfect. And when they get caught, they say, no, this is just soup for my family. And then the media says, this is just soup. These people are very, very innocent. They're innocent people.
What rules, you sons of bitches?
They had a very bad original concept. It was carried out poorly, and the cover-up was one of the worst in the history of cover-ups. Very simple. Bad deal, should have never been thought of. Somebody really messed up, and they had the worst cover-up ever. And where it should have stopped was at the deal standpoint, when they thought about it. Because whoever thought of that idea, I think was in big trouble.
I am not up to the job. And I mean that sincerely. It's not like, whoa.
Running against the worst candidate in the history of presidential politics puts pressure on me. Can you imagine if I lose my whole life? What am I going to do? I'm going to say, I lost to the worst candidate in the history of politics. I'm not going to feel so good. Maybe I'll have to leave the country. I don't know.
I don't know who created Pokemon Go, but I'm trying to figure out how we get them to have Pokemon go to the polls.